Hey y'all, welcome to The Real Value, where we recap, review, rate, and evaluate all things watched. I'm Cal. Now let's find the real value of stop motion. Wishmaster.
That which is eternal cannot die. But if it's any consolation, sweet Alex, that hurt like hell.
This video will be spoil-free and split into two parts. The first will be a description and synopsis of the film, outlining the major plot points and setups that one could gather simply from viewing the film's trailer alone. And I'll also tell you about the director, writer, cast, budget, and box office, as well as what several other reputable sources have to say about the film. During the second part of the video, we'll dive a little bit deeper into my takes on the film, including, again, a spoil-free recap, before we finally reveal the real value of the film and whether I think you should spend your valuable time watching it or not. Okay, my friends.
And here we go.
Stop Motion is a psychological horror thriller that follows Ella, an ambitious stop-motion animator struggling to bring her latest project to life. But as she dives deeper into her work, the lines between her animated world and reality begin to blur. Haunted by past traumas and issues with her mother, Ella starts to lose grip on what is real and what is imagined. The film weaves together a chilling narrative that explores the toll of obsession and the dangers of losing oneself in the creative process, all set against the eerie backdrop of Ella's increasing surreal and nightmarish surroundings. Stop Motion was directed by Robert Morgan, who co-wrote the film with Robin King, whom I could not find a picture of, so they're either too shy or I need to up my research game. It debuted at Fantastic Fest in Austin, Texas last September and was Robert Morgan's first feature-length film. But Morgan wasn't new to the stop-motion medium, as he worked in that genre for most of his career, including in the 2014 horror anthology movie ABCs of Death 2. In that piece, he had a short called D is for Delouse, which I watched in preparation for this video, and yeah, you can definitely spot the similarities in Morgan's work when compared to stop motion. Morgan took home Best Director for this film at Fantastic Fest as well. The film was released through the streaming platform Shudder, #not a sponsor, in February of 2024. It had a modest budget of around $1 million, which is crazy to say, oh, we only had $1 million for this film. However, it only grossed about $800,000, so probably not a sequel in the works, but you never know. Almighty Hollywood, am I right? What? It's a British film? Oh. Well, in that case, you never know, Governor. Almighty Hollywood, am I right? I'm hilarious. The film stars Aisling Franciosi, who has made an appearance on the channel before in our review of the 2024 version of Speak No Evil, which you can check out here. Franciosi's made quite a name for herself recently, starring in films such as The Nightingale, The Last Voyage of the Demeter, and many more. The reception of the film has thus far been pretty extreme. It seems like people either really love it or really hate it. Some critics think it's the best horror flick in a decade. Others think it's far too slow and boring. So let's explore how some other reputable sources have rated the film. IGN rates it at a 7 out of 10. IMDb rates it at a 5.6 out of 10. Letterboxd has it at a 3.1 out of 5. And the Rotten Tomatoes tomato meter, which is mostly made up of the site's legitimate critics, so to speak, has it at a 91% out of 100. While their popcorn meter, which is made up of the regular people that can just log into the site and rate a movie, has it at a 51% out of 100. So you can see a big discrepancy there. Remember, as I've said before, all these systems use different criteria for their ratings, which is why I like to take an overall approach. So if we convert and average those 5 ratings together, overall the masses give the movie a 66% out of 100, aka a 6.6 out of 10 or 3.3 out of 5. But again, we know that these are guidelines and not gospel, for the only true word is that of the real values rating of the film, which you have to stay through the entire video if you want to find out. Also, please take this time to like, subscribe, share, and click that notification bell if you want to help my channel grow. I'd appreciate it immensely, and thanks to all of you that have already done so, especially some of my very first subs. Fellow fantasy football champions, That's right. Corey, aka Siegel, and Alex K. Joey of Cadenza Coffee. Russell, my sweet, sweet rhino. My man Shaner, Dominique7395, Emmanuel, Ashley E, and Cass. Love you, Cass. And there's been so many more, obviously, so thank you all. I've also recently set up a Patreon that I'm currently only using as a donation platform. No pressure at all, but if you'd like to help the channel out, you can find the link in the description below or on the front page of my channel. All proceeds will go to upgrading equipment and all things TRV, the real value, related. Again, thank all of you for spending some of your valuable and precious time watching little old me give his little old reviews and sharing his love of movies with you. I do appreciate it. I'd also like to give a shout out to the creators of the Foot the Bill series here on YouTube. They've helped out tremendously with the myriads of questions I've had for them. So I want them to know that I appreciate them very much. If you haven't checked out their channel, it's growing rapidly due to nothing else but the spectacular content and its very interesting niche. Go check them out. Their handle is @KittenArcader. And tell them Calvin of The Real Value sent you. Back to the business at hand. Now, again, this is a spoil-free recap, but I will be alluding to some of the premises of the film, I guess you could call it. But I'm not outright giving anything away necessarily, just what my takes are on the film. So if that's okay with you, come along. If you like to live dangerously.
I also like to live dangerously.
If you want to be 100% totally, completely surprised, go watch the film, then come back and tell me what you think. I love the idea of using stop motion as a central piece in this film. In my opinion, which I've held since I was a wee young lad, is that stop motion, the medium itself, is pretty creepy, even when it doesn't mean to be. I had a hard time personally as a kid watching like Pee-wee's Big Adventure because they had that stop motion scene in there.
And when they finally pulled the driver's body from the twisted, burning wreck, it looked like this.
Of course, Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, even other things that were supposed to be really light and fun, like that one British show with the dog and the guy. Wallace and Gromit. I know it's supposed to be cute, but that kind of stuff just kind of gave me the icks. Then in my preteen years, you had the band Tool, who I love, but they came out with all their freaky stop motion vids that I would sometimes see on MTV back when they played music videos in the middle of the night. It'd be creepy. So I believe that stop motion and horror share a kind of common ancestor, if you will. Even the smoothest of stop motion, you can tell it's still a little jerky and holds a kind of weird skippiness to it. I find it goes with the horror genre so well. I mean, look at a lot of the horror movies the last couple decades. Even they have adopted a kind of choppy stop motion-esque-ness about their monsters and ghosts when they're moving around, that kind of like scare us all. It's very unsettling. And though the reach of this film hasn't been as far as I'm sure as Morgan and the cast has hoped, I wonder if we'll see more of the stop motion medium in the horror genre itself. Not to say that it hasn't been in it before, but you know, with modern advances in technology, I feel like it's a very, very niche medium on the verge of dying, just because of how hard and time consuming it can be. Nevertheless, the stop motion was done very well and brings a sense of dread to the film. Now, I do agree with many that the film's execution and pacing was a little too slow, but only in some parts. I've watched the movie a few times, and I will say it gets better the more you watch it, but still, I think in some scenes, when it's trying to build tension, it still went a bit too long. How long? Well, I think if the director or editors or whatever cut out a good 5 to 8 minutes of this movie, it would be vastly improved. I know that some of you are thinking, again, 5 to 8 minutes, that's not a lot, but that's a ton in film standards. 5 to 8 minutes could be a big chunk of a scene or several smaller scenes. But again, going back to, I think they were trying to build tension. In some cases, I felt maybe they were lingering just a bit too long in an art for the sake of art kind of way. But that's just me. I like the slow burns, don't get me wrong, but I don't like a snail's pace. Again, it was only in some parts, and in the end, everything speeds up like a mother. Like, for real. Watch it and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
It jumped up a notch.
It did, didn't it?
I thought the effects, the lighting, the audio, and overall cinematography of the film were stupendous. And what I really found unsettling was how they recorded all the disquieting noises that Ella would make, but in a way that you yourself were kind of like in her head. Do you get what I mean? For instance, it was like if you put in earplugs and then went about your day. You could hear your own heartbeat and breathing and the gushy, nasty noises our bodies make on the insides. That was done throughout the film, and it really grossed me out, but in a good way. It's unsettling, but I think it really brings, I don't know, just the sense of what Ella's going through to light or to sound. Look, this channel's made up of dad jokes because I'm a cat dad, the most important kind of dad. And that's just how we roll here at The Real Value. We stay real. Getting really into it now. So what is stop motion all about? Really, I found myself connecting with it in several different ways. The movie itself doesn't explicitly mention that Ella, the main character, had any trauma, but it overwhelmingly implies it. You can see this in her interactions with her mother and her relationship with her boyfriend and his sister, and then of course with how she meets and finds out who the little girl, her name is actually Little Girl in the credits, when she finds out who she really is. Ella is a perfectionist who is creatively blocked throughout the film, and she's obsessing about breaking through that mental block. This is something, as a self-proclaimed artist, that I can totally sympathize with. Sometimes creativity be a big old bitch. And this film draws comparisons between, for instance, Polly's character, who is the aforementioned boyfriend's sister, whom I loved. Polly was hilarious. She has one line in the film. This isn't a spoiler, but she has one line in the film. She sees Ella's work and she's like, "What do you want?" And Ella's like, "What do you mean, nothing?" She's like, "Oh, I get the best ideas when I'm tripping my tits off." And I just think that's an excellent line for a movie. But anyways, going back to the comparisons between Polly and Ella, Polly, who's also a stop motion animator, by the way, coincidence, but she works for an advertisement agency. So Polly's relationship with the art medium is more based on finances and money, whereas Ella's is more about the art itself. And as we all know, that can be a huge struggle for some of us artists. Case in point, this channel. So for instance, when I was in a screamo metal band way back in my day,
Show some respect!
we lived an hour away from any major city. So it became very difficult to, one, make new fans that far away from our hometown, and two, constantly bring our hometown fans to the city. So we weren't making any money. And though our ultimate goal was to be financially stable through our music, that's not why we did it. We loved creating. We loved playing. We loved entertaining. I love the stage. Good times. But sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, we'd sit around and be like, maybe we should just be a country cover band and make some money. You'll be surprised how many country cover bands in Texas, especially East Texas, just rake in dough doing their little covers. No hate. Artists got to do what they got to do. So I totally get that, and I connected with Ella on that matter. Also, I think the idea of obsessing over your art can sometimes be detrimental. If you're constantly doing your thing, you are sacrificing other things. It may be your friends, your family, your partner. It could be time and money. It could be your health, exercise, and eating habits. All of those things, when you're really trying to pursue your art form, can be pushed to the side. More often than not, all in an attempt to reach for greatness. It's just sad that sometimes it works out and sometimes it doesn't. So I found this movie trying to shine a spotlight on those ideas as well. As for the trauma stuff, I have some theories on that, and trigger warning or whatever, though this is a horror movie, so it's all triggering. I think it hints at the fact that Ella might have been sexually abused, either by her father, who isn't in the film nor ever spoken about, or by someone else. When you see it, there's a lot of sexuality in how Ella, unwillingly, mind you, interacts with her stop motion characters, especially when you get to the climax. of the film itself. Again, that could just be me. If you've seen it or when you see it, come back and let me know in the comments. Do you agree with my take on that, or am I way off base? I don't want to spoil anything with the film, so let's go ahead and reveal the real value of 2024's stop motion. Drum roll, please. Drum roll. I give this film a rating of, it's another must-see. It's another must-see. I think it's an excellent film with a lot of subtext, and I believe it to be creepy and spooky enough for one to have a pretty good time watching it. Also, as I've mentioned in our previous video, which you again can watch here, I love Aisling Franciosi. She's going to be a star. She's super de duper good in this film. Her performance is up there, so kudos to her. Now on our Scaredy Cal Scale, which gives it a scale of creepiness, spookiness, how scary it is, I give stop motion a nice and healthy 4 out of 5 Scaredy Cals. This is because of its disturbing stop motion effects, because of its characters, the unsettling audio, the anxiety-invoking tone of the film, and because of the all-around eeriness of the movie itself. Overall, what I'm saying is I highly recommend it. That's all from us here on The Real Value. My cats, thank you for stopping by. And remember, let me know if you have a movie that you want me to watch and review. I have 2 requests so far from my man Russell and my man Siegel. I am working on those currently. Hope to have them out in October. But again, I am up for anyone's suggestion. Don't forget to stop by at Kitten Arcader's channel, see their Foot the Bill series, like and subscribe to my channel, and if you want to throw me a few bucks, my Patreon link is in the description below. Thank all of you, and I'll see you next time. Stay real, folks. Stay real.
To you, was it all just a fluke? To you, cause I'm starting to thank you. Don't comprehend the seriousness that's at hand. I can care less if you think you're a god. Grab your cross and prepare for the fall, cause kingdoms rise overnight.